Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. We are reading from chapter 1, text number 21 and 22. Arjuna uvacha सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे। Arjun said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Purport by Prabhupada. Although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed here as infallible. As charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjun, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. In all circumstances, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rishikesh, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord. And similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to his devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees, assuming the advantageous position of ordering him, than he does in being the giver of orders. Since he is master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjun had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come into the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhan, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of a peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war. So, there's a very interesting turn in the narration of the Gita. So, all these days we saw how Duryodhan was describing, Sanjay was describing the armies of the two sides, the leading members of each side, and all those discussions were going on, and how both the parties blew their conch shells. Bhishma blew his conch shell, Krishna, Arjun, Bhima, all the Pandavas, and all the leading warriors on each side blew their conch shells. And how when the Pandavas blew their conch shells, it shattered the hearts of Duryodhana and the Kauravas. So until now, it was a description of the battlefield, the leading warriors. But at this point in the first chapter, it is said that Arjuna is requesting his friend and chariot driver, Krishna, to take the chariot between the two armies. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapayame achyuta. Oh Achyuta, please take my rath between the two armies and position it in the center, so that I can see who are the warriors. So this is an interesting thing. It is as if Arjun had never seen them. Now, Arjun knew who are the members there. They were his own friends, relatives, brothers, cousins, grandfathers. So there are no new people there. All were known people. But still now he is asking, let me see. Yavadeta nirikshe, let me see. Yodhukaman, who are the ones who are so eager to fight? Kairmaya saha yodhavyam, with whom I have to fight? Asmin rana samudyam, in this battlefield. So, here we find Krishna is addressed as Achyuta. Achyuta means infallible. Infallible means one who never fails in anything. Especially one who never fails to protect his devotees. Achyuta. Last time we saw how Krishna is known as Rishikesh. Right? Rishikesh means one who is the controller of the senses. But now Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Achyuta. So all these names come, they are not just random names. Arjun ko jo man mein aa gaya naam, then he calls by that name. Aisa nahi hai. He is calling at Krishna by certain names which is significant in that context. So in this case, he is calling by the name Achyuta. Infallible, one who never fails to offer protection to his devotees. So there are so many instances. Like last time we were discussing about Ambarish, right? Ambarish, how Durvasa Muni tried to attack him and how Krishna protected him. So there are all the stories in the Bhagavatam or in other literatures. We find Krishna never fails to protect his surrendered devotees. In the Mahabharata itself, we find so many instances. Last week was Akshaya Tritiya, right? Akshaya Tritiya is the story of Draupadi's Akshaya Patra. The story of Akshaya Patra is quite famous. How Durvasa Muni and his team of sages went to the forest when the Pandavas were doing Vanvas. And there they had arrived after Draupadi had taken her meal. So Draupadi had his Akshaya Patra, and the condition was it can provide unlimited food until Draupadi eats, right? For the day. So every day the Akshaya Patra will provide unlimited food. But when Draupadi eats her lunch, uske baad it will stop providing food. So anyone who wants to come and take food, it has to happen before Draupadi takes her food. Now interestingly, Durvasa Muni arrived there when? After Draupadi had taken her meal. Duryodhana had arranged. Durvasa Muni reaches there after Draupadi eats. So he said, we have arrived, so we'll go and take the bath. So please come and please keep the lunch ready. For how many people? 60,000 people. Not 60, 60,000. Not a small number. Even in marriages, you don't find so many people, right? And so you have to plan so many elaborate arrangements before marriage or any other function. 60,000 atithis, uninvited, uninformed guests. And they are staying in the forest. They have to arrange the lunch. So Yudhishthira, as usual, said, okay, go and take lunch. We will keep everything ready. And then he checked with Draupadi. Draupadi said, I have already eaten my meal. Where will I get the lunch? So then the story goes how Draupadi helplessly called Krishna. Krishna, where was he located? He was in Dwarka. And they are in Vanvas. But still Krishna mysteriously appeared there upon Draupadi's call. Draupadi helplessly called, please protect us. Because if Durvasa Muni gets angry, then already they are in a precarious condition. Uske upar se aur ek sharp, very difficult. So Krishna appeared, some out of nowhere. And Krishna said, so Draupadi started explaining the problem. This is what happens. Krishna, wait. First, I am hungry. Give me something to eat. Draupadi, that is the problem. There is no food. So, but then Krishna found out some particular grain, somewhere in the corner of the vessel. And then he took that, he drank a glass of water, and he belched Dakar he gave. And with that Dakar, what happened? All the sages who had gone to take bath in the river, they also got Dakar. They also felt our bellies are full with food. And if we go now to Yudhishthir's place to eat food, how can we eat? And they must have prepared a huge lunch. elaborate lunch. And if you don't eat there, then it's an offense to the host. They will get angry. So what is the best solution? Escape. Escape the place. Run away from the place. That's what they did. They left the place without telling anyone. So imagine if they would have come, no food, and he would have got angry. That's how Krishna saved them. Draupadi called and Krishna protected. So there are so many such instances where a devotee is in a very serious, critical condition, dangerous condition, and they call out to Krishna. And somehow something happens mysteriously, and the devotee is protected. So therefore, Krishna is here called as Achyuta. Another instance you find in the Srimad Bhagavatam is the story of Gajendra. So many stories, every canto has a story. Gajendra was an elephant in the heavenly regions. And he had his group of elephants, family members, friends, relatives. Huge elephant. Heavenly region elephant is far bigger than our earth elephants. And they were enjoying a nice bath in the river. And what happened? Gajendra entered the river. Huge elephant, king of elephants. And while taking bath in the river, something caught his leg. Who was that? A crocodile. And the crocodile started pulling him deeper and deeper inside the river. And Gajendra thought, okay, it's not a big thing. I can easily pull him out, come out. Anyway, I am the king of elephants. Who can overcome me? And he was really the king, very powerful, strong elephant. But the fight continued between the elephant and the crocodile for a long, long time. And his friends and relatives, all of them also started helping him, trying to pull him out. But then they were unsuccessful. Slowly, gradually, he started going deeper and deeper and deeper into the water. And Gajendra started losing hope. And a time came when his whole body was inside, drowning, except his trunk. The tip of the trunk was outside. Matlab, few minutes left to drown. That's when he recalled the memory from his past life. How he had performed prayers and all the prayers he would recite in his earlier life as King Indradyumna. He was a king named Indradyumna, who was cursed by Agastya Rishi. For some mistake he did. Agastya Rishi cursed him that you become an animal, dumb animal like an elephant. And that's how he became Gajendra. So all those prayers and the devotional practices he had done earlier, he started remembering them. And he started reciting those prayers. Reciting those prayers for calling out to Krishna, calling out to God. Although he didn't know who God exactly was. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki. Although he didn't know who exactly God was, but he addressed, whoever God is, please come, protect me. So all the devatas are wondering, is he calling me? Is he calling me? Brahma is wondering, he's not calling me. Shiva is wondering, no, he's not calling me. So how can we go and protect? So in this way, no one went, except finally Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, understanding that he is in trouble, my devotee is in trouble. Immediately he got on the back of Garuda, flew to the location where Gajendra was situated, and took out his Sudarshan Chakra, released the Sudarshan Chakra, and killed the crocodile, cut off his head. and protected Gajendra. Very nice picture you may have seen somewhere. Very famous story in the Bhagavatam. So at the last moment, Vishnu arrived and protected Gajendra. So in this way, whenever a devotee sincerely calls out for help, in any condition, in any situation, then Krishna never fails to protect his devotee. Not just protecting from death. Now we may wonder, okay, these people were about to die and Krishna or Vishnu protected them. So we don't have to wait for the time of death in order to call out for help. Any difficult situation, any serious trouble we are in, we need to call out to Krishna for help. Whether help will come or not, that's another thing. But the practice of calling out for help is essential. Because sometime or the other in our life, we are going to face the ultimate test, which is that the test of death. Right? At least at that time, we should be able to remember Krishna. That's what the Gita says in the 8th chapter. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. One who remembers me at the time of death. Antakale. Smaran muktva kalevaram. One who remembers while giving up his body. Saprayati samadbhavam. Such a person attains my nature, comes back to me. Na samshaya. There is no doubt about it. So every test in our life, every calamity in our life, every difficulty in our life is an opportunity to seek out help. Remember Krishna. So that we get a practice. Practice to remember Krishna at the time of death. If you have not practiced throughout our life, calling out to Krishna, then at the last moment we won't be able to call. Just like a student who is wanting to appear for an exam, right? Say 10th standard board exams, 12th standard board exams. So there are so many tests conducted, right? The school authorities, college authorities conduct so many tests. Mock tests, unit tests, prelims, so many other tests they do. Coaching classes conduct the tests. So that when the final exam arrives, he is well prepared. And then he can clear the exam nicely, without any fear, without any lack of confidence. So that's how every test in our life, we should see it as a small mock test. Mock test to prepare ourselves for the final test. And if we take the test seriously, we shouldn't say, "Arey, it's a mock test anyway. Final test ka dekha jayega." Then we lose the opportunity. So in this way, Krishna never fails to protect his devotees. That's why he is called as Achyuta. Even in the story of Prahlad, we are going to see next week, Narsingh Chaturdashi, 4th of May, how Prahlad was attempted to be killed by so many ways, in so many ways. He was thrown off the mountain cliffs. He was thrown among mad elephants. He was put into a pit containing poisonous snakes. He was thrown into the fire. And with Trishul, weapons, he was attempted to be killed. Several attempts to kill him. But no attempt was successful to kill him. Every time he came out safe. So how? Because he was constantly remembering Vishnu. So Hiranyakashipu, his father, asked him, "Where do you get this strength?" Because he saw no attempt is successful to kill him. Where do you get, Prahlad, this strength, this confidence? Prahlad said, "My strength is Lord Vishnu, Vaikuntha. And your strength is also Vaikuntha, Vishnu." And the strength of the whole world is coming from Lord Vishnu. So he couldn't understand, appreciate the answer. Instead of appreciating the answer, he got more angry, Hiranyakashipu. And he wanted to kill him immediately. Then he took out his sword, and when he tried to kill him, he saw that pillar. So, is your Vishnu here? He said, yes, Vishnu is everywhere, including the pillar. And then he attempted to destroy the pillar, hit the pillar. That's when the pillar cracked open and out came Lord Narsimhadev. Right? And Narsimhadev had a fight with Hiranyakashipu. Narsimhadev killed him and protected Prahlad. So in all situations, in all circumstances, we find those who are surrendered devotees, they are always protected. Protection doesn't mean protection of the body. Now you may say, okay, there are so many devotees also dying. Young devotees dying, devotees dying in accidents, devotees dying out of cancer and so many other terminal diseases. Why didn't Krishna protect them? Didn't they pray enough? Didn't they call out to Krishna enough? So protection is not just protection of the body. Real protection is a protection of our consciousness, our faith. Because body is anyway going to die someday or the other. Even if our body is protected, say today I am protected. How long do you expect God to protect your body? Right? So I call out to Krishna and seek protection for some disease in the hospital. And suppose Krishna protects me at the age of 70. Then I may live for 5 more years, 75 or 80. Again a day will come when I am supposed to die. Then again I call out for protection. And again I demand Krishna to come and protect me. Say he protects me. Then how long? Kabhi na kabhi to marna hi hai, nahi? So therefore protection is not protection of the body from death. Real protection is protection of our consciousness. Because after the death of the body, we are going to enter into another body. And if we can maintain our devotional memories, our devotional practices, our remembrance of Krishna, if that can be maintained and protected, then we can continue our spiritual life. That's real protection. And Krishna never fails in that protection. Occasionally you may find some cases where Krishna protects the devotees from accident or from some serious illnesses. That's an occasional thing. That's once in a while. That's not the norm. So therefore Achyuta, Krishna's name is Achyuta. So here in this case, Arjuna is asking what? Yavadeta niriksheham. Let me have a look at the people, the warriors who have assembled here. And Krishna takes the chariot and Arjuna sees. So here, this is a typical calculation of anyone. We want to see things to believe in them. Until I see things, how can I believe? Right? Like people say, can you show me God? Can you show me spiritual world? Can you show me so many things? Can you show me the soul? Why so much emphasis on seeing? So seeing is not the best way of evidence, at least when it comes to spiritual subject matters. Even in material subject matters, there are so many things which we are unable to see, still we believe in them. Right? We can't see X-rays, we can't see video signals, audio signals, there are FM radio signals, so many ultraviolet rays, infrared rays, so many things we can't see. Don't we believe in them? We believe in them, right? But if someone says, no, until I see, I cannot believe. That's a foolish approach. So many material things we cannot see and still we believe in them. Why can't we believe in things about spirit without seeing? So pratyaksha, the emphasis on seeing is considered inferior evidence. So there are three kinds of evidences: pratyaksha praman, anuman praman, and shabda praman. So pratyaksha is like only when I see I believe. Anuman is okay, I cannot see now, but logically I can infer. Okay, this thing is there, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and the effect is produced. I can see the effect, which means the cause exists somewhere. So if cause is unseen, but the effect is seen, I believe in the existence of the cause. I can't see electricity, but I can see the light. I can see the fans moving. Therefore, I believe that there is electricity flowing in the wires, although I cannot see. That is Anuman. But even Anuman may fail when it comes to proving the existence of spiritual subject matters. Simply by logical inference, we cannot prove the existence of God. You may prove to some extent, but there will be always challenges. But why not this? But not why not that? So many buts and ifs can come, no matter how strong the logic is. So therefore, we need a more superior praman. What is that? Shabda praman. Shabda praman means an evidence given by a reliable authority. Like for example, if you go to an unknown place, say if you go to into a forest, or if you are traveling on the sea or flight, if you are the pilot, then simply by looking into the sky, you cannot find out where to go. Suppose you are flying from Bombay to London. You can't, looking into the sky, you can't understand this is the right way, because everything looks same. Right? All white clouds. Kahan pe jaye? So then what do you need? You need Shabda Praman. You need direction from the air traffic controller, whoever is monitoring the space, and then signals you receive from them. Accordingly, you turn the plane in whichever direction you have to take. And if you follow the directions nicely, properly, then you will reach the destination. Hai ki nahi? So you rely on Shabda, a reliable Shabda, not any Shabda. Not that a co-passenger tells you, okay, take left, take right. You won't do that, the pilot. The pilot has to receive signal from an authority, traffic or air ATC. So that's how, when it comes to spiritual subject matters, we need to receive messages, signals from a reliable authority. That authority is Shastra, scripture. The scriptural injunctions, scriptural statements, scriptural directions are Shabda Praman, which talks about things beyond our vision, beyond something that is beyond this world. We can never see. No matter the most powerful telescope you may have, you can still never see. We may have the best logical ability. Still, we will not be able to logically prove certain things which are beyond this world. Just like, for example, suppose a person living in a jail, a prisoner in a jail. He has been living in the prison since birth. ठीक है? जन्म ही उसका जेल में हुआ है. And 20-25 years have passed inside the jail. He has never come out of the jail. And you tell him, you know what? Can you tell what is there outside the jail? What will he say? He will look out of the window of the jail and he may see some trees. He may see some people. What do you see? I don't know. I have not gone inside a jail. But whatever you see inside is maybe some wall only. or some ground, maybe some other prisoners. If he has to describe what is there outside the jail, the outside world, how much can he describe? Can never describe, right? Because his understanding about life outside his jail is very limited. And whatever he describes about the outside world will be based on the little description, information available within his eyes, which is never going to be accurate. He can never say the world outside has buildings and there are highways and there are playgrounds, there are movie theaters, there are malls and shops and the railway lines and airports, which is never going to happen in his description. But how can he still know? He can come to know about all this if someone from outside comes inside the jail, describes to him, aisa sa hai bahar. All these things are there outside. And then he accepts it. And then he understands it. Alright? So similarly, to understand things beyond this world, beyond this universe, the scriptures talk about spiritual world. The Gita talks about spiritual world. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. That world which doesn't require sun or moon or electricity, self-illuminated, there is no death, no birth. That place is my place, Krishna says. Now we can't see from here because we are inside the jail, some kind of a jail. And we can never see. We have to receive information from someone who is coming here from outside. So Krishna comes, yada yada hi dharma se comes, sambhavami yuge yuge. And his representatives come from outside the world. And then they describe, this is how the world outside is. The spiritual world is like this, Vaikuntha is like this, Goloka Dham is like this. And they have all these descriptions, Chintamani, Kalpavriksha, all these Chintamani, Prakara Satma, Laksha, Surabhi, Ravi Palayantam, Kamadhenu cows, all the descriptions are given. But when we hear all those things, what do we say? It's mythology. Right? It's all, kisne dekha hai, kisko pata hai. We don't believe. We think it is fiction. So therefore, but to get the information about anything spiritual, anything beyond this world, this is the only method. Receiving information from a reliable source, like Shastra, scripture. Like there is a story of, Prabhupada used to tell the story of Dr. Frog. Who is Dr. Frog? Dr. Frog was a frog in a well. In a well, small kua. And he was the king of the well. The old frog, huge frog. So all the other frogs would respect him, glorify him. You are the king, you are the wisest, this and that, the most intelligent. And the frog was happy, the king. So one day another frog came into this well. From where? From a river, a lake outside, huge lake. Somehow the frog came and entered into this well. And this frog started describing to this frog, the king frog, Dr. Frog. So this Dr. Frog interviewed him. So where are you? Who are you? You are coming from which place? So he said, I am coming from a river, Ganga, huge river. And then he said, okay, what is this Ganga? What is this river? So it's a river, it's a huge body of water. Sacha? How big? Is it bigger than the well? Dr. Frog is asking, is the Ganga bigger than the well? So the bigger than the well, what question are you asking? It is far, far bigger than the well. How big? How much bigger than the well? Is it twice the size? 3 times the size? 5 times the size. So this frog said, "Arey Baba, you cannot calculate. It's unlimitedly big. ये well तो उसके सामने कुछ नहीं है." So but you tell some calculation, some estimation, 100 times, 1,000 times. So this frog said, "You can never understand the size of Ganga. It is unlimited water." But this frog just couldn't believe it. Dr. Frog. So that's how Prabhupada used to compare our scientists, modern scientists. You tell them there is a spiritual world, there is Vaikuntha, there is God, and there is Vrindavan. And they will ask, how big? Bigger than this world? This earth ka size itna hai. How big? Twice the size, thrice the size. But then the messengers from Vaikuntha say, "Arey Baba, it is insignificant. There is no comparison here." But then you have to tell how big. 1,000 times, million times. So that's the foolishness of comparing material and spiritual worlds. There is no comparison. But then we have to accept it. Accept it based on the reliability and the authority of someone who is coming from outside. They have seen. Krishna is describing in the Gita. The Bhagavatam is describing the nature of the spiritual world, the size and the quality and the characteristics and the people there, how they live, what are the activities. But if you remain Dr. Frog, then what happens? We will remain in the well. We can never go outside the well. The eligibility for going outside the well is to first accept the existence of Ganga or any river, the sea or the ocean. But if you dismiss it saying, "Hai, bakwas, aisa kuch hota hai," then we miss the opportunity to experience that level of reality. There is another, Prabhupada used to give the example of a blind man and the elephant. So there was a huge elephant and there was 6 or 7 blind men touching various organs of the elephant. Now, someone is touching the elephant's leg, someone is touching the elephant's body, elephant's trunk, elephant's tail, but they are blind. तो जिसने पैर पकड़ा, he thinks ये तो बड़ा खंबा है, huge pillar maybe. So if you ask him, what is the elephant? Elephant is an animal like a huge pillar. That's his description of the animal. You ask the person who is touching the tail, what will he say? Oh, elephant is an animal in the shape of a jhadu, broom. Someone you ask the person who is touching the body, belly. They say elephant is like a wall, diwar ki tarah. So everyone, according to their perception of the elephant, they will describe the elephant accordingly. Right? So who is right, who is wrong? Everyone is right, but partially right. Because their experience is limited. Right? No one can give a complete picture. Only a person with clear eyes, who is not blind, when that person describes the elephant, then the description of the elephant is complete. Otherwise, every description of the elephant is partially correct. Or in some cases, it could be totally incorrect. Similarly, when we, with our limited senses, limited eyes, limited capacity, when we look into the universe, we try to understand spiritual subject matters with our imperfect, limited senses. It is going to be imperfect. Or at best, it can be partially correct. It can never be completely correct. Therefore, we need to reject relying on our own capacity to understand spiritual subject matters. depending on too much on our own research, our own capacity, and ignoring scriptural evidence is like Dr. Frog. We can use our senses to understand whatever little we can, but it has to in alignment with scriptural evidence. What I have observed, what I have experienced, if it matches with what is given in the scripture, then we accept. If it contradicts what is given in scripture, then we reject. Reject what? Our conclusions, not scriptural conclusion. Usually what happens if my analysis contradicts with this, I foolishly reject the scripture. Should be other way around. We reject our conclusions because our conclusion is going to be limited, like the blind man's analysis of the elephant. So therefore, Arjun here in this case is trying to understand the situation based on his vision. Let me see. We're going to see with his own eyes. And seeing with his own eyes and deriving conclusions with his own eyes is going to be imperfect. Then later you will find he starts analyzing with his emotional, mental, intellectual analysis. That also fails. Later when he surrenders saying, "Oh Baba, I cannot understand anything. I am unable to make a decision." That's when he starts hearing from Krishna. And then Krishna starts speaking the Gita to him. That is like hearing Shabda Praman. So he rejects his Pratyaksha Praman, his ability to, his tendency to understand with his own senses. He rejects the analysis derived from his own intellectual capacity. But then when he hears from Krishna, a superior source, then his illusion is dispelled. He regains his composure. And then he becomes enthusiastic to fight. So in this way, we see that relying too much on, we have to rely on scriptural evidence. Scripture is our authority. Not blindly, not blindly accept scripture. Scripture can also be understood logically. There are so many explanation statements in the scripture which are logically understandable, which we can even experience many things. So when we experience certain statements of the scripture, when we logically understand certain statements of scripture, then it becomes easier to understand those statements which are beyond logic and experience. And in this way, when we practice, then there are practices. When we start practicing the principles, then even those statements become understandable. So nothing is blind. Initially, it may appear to be blind faith, but it is not. It's only a matter of time when the experience starts coming in, and then we can appreciate the scriptural statements. So in this way, we will see how Arjun goes through these transformations of limited analysis in the beginning, but when he hears from Krishna, everything becomes clear. So that we will see in the coming weeks, in the next verses. So I'll stop here. Anyone wants to ask anything? Yeah.
As as you said about the blind peoples and that Dr. Frog. So Dr. Frog said about means he explained about how much place he has been surrounded. He was knowing about only about the well. So he can explain about that only. He can't explain about the whole world. Like that means scientists are also like that. How much they have been seen. So it doesn't matter that a normal person and scientists, they are not different. They
Correct.
all are same. Means the point of view is that we should gain the knowledge, we should search about it. Then a normal person can be also scientist. Means as you said, Lord Vishnu means Krishna. He has created the world. He knows about it. But we are the person as in a jail, we doesn't know much. We just know about the earth, but not about the whole universe, how much planets, what's going on. So I understand we human beings are also not simple people is a same, and scientists also same. Just we should understand and gain knowledge. We should know everything about it, right? As I said, it is right or wrong.
Yeah, but we should gain knowledge through scripture.
Yes.
That is the point I was making.
Yes.
Although scientists and we are not much different
Yes.
in ignorance, but the source of knowledge should be scripture.
Okay.
That's the point.
Okay. Means it is
Like the
not.
Dr. Frog example, he had to hear from the frog who came outside the well. He
Yes,
came from the river, right?
Yes, means I was saying about that. Means I consider him. He's a not much. He's a dumb and all. Means not intelligent. Isn't it like that? Means this person is not intelligent and he's intelligent. It is not like that. Every persons are same. Just point of view is that he has not gained the knowledge and I have gained the knowledge. You
Okay.
have understood? Means what I said. You have
No,
understood.
you have to say that again.
No, means I have said he's a Dr. Frog. He just knows about the well, and I know about the Ganga River. Means that doesn't matter that he's dumb and I am much intelligent. The point of view is that how much we view by our eyes, how much we search, then a dumb person can also be intelligent, right?
Provided he accepts you.
Yes,
If he says, "Nahi, my well is my dunya,
yes,
and there is nothing outside my well,"
Yes.
then he remains dumb.
yes,
But you have seen the Ganga.
yes. And if we
Let me finish. Let me finish. You have seen the Ganga, right?
Yes,
So if he wants to believe in Ganga, he has to hear from you,
yes,
right? So similarly, if I want to believe in the spiritual world, I have to hear the messages of people who are coming from there.
And-
I have to hear from Krishna first, because Krishna comes from the spiritual world. So if I have to believe in Krishna and his existence and his world and his abode, everything about him, I have to hear from him,
yes,
which is scripture.
yes.
Are you getting the point?
Yes. And see, and if he believes on me, then it's okay. But he says no, the veil is only this much. Then he's a type of dumb person.
Correct,
no?
correct.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki